Alrighty, we are back at it with another player profile here. Today we have CB Deobald. I didn't know much about the CB clan. As far as I know, it stands for Crying Beastmen. I know I helped a little bit with a clan war between them and Ama. And I was kind of, I was curious about this clan I hadn't really heard much of, and one player that I particularly like watching was Deobald himself. I think he played Vampire Coast in that one, if I remember correctly. His current rank is Gold Renown. And just thought we'd talk about him a little bit. Main factions are Beastmen and Vampire Coast, which is an interesting pairing. You really don't see that kind of all-speed, no-armor, low-leadership rush paired with Vampire Coast like that, but he apparently does. And it took me a lot of watch-throughs for his the games he sent me to really figure out what I could talk about, until I realized that his single entity play is quite good. His magic usage is on par as well. It's very good. But like, he's kind of one of the strengths I honestly should have listed there is just consistency. He's a very consistent player. I don't see a lot of big flashy mistakes. I also don't see a lot of gigantic flashy plays. He's just solid. So Noctilus, the Gunnery Whites are out here shooting some good targets. There's not a lot for the Carronade to shoot. It is just shooting some halberds for now, but Cav are going to close in and take him out. Now, the one thing I did show as a potential improvement would be chaff management. It does feel like when I'm watching these games a little bit like Deobald plays every faction like they're Skaven, in that if it's not going to carry him the entire game, he doesn't care if it fucking dies. But, that being said, the units he needs to carry the game, he takes very good care of and keeps them quite alive. So it's a boon on one side, a negative on the other side. But see here, Noctilus is fine, his little things, keeping him alive with all these gunnery crab thing, Gunnery Whites running around. This isn't the best replay to show you what I mean, because Vampire Coast have a play style of usually just look at my big heavy armored units go. Look at them go burr. That is a decent match to show his magic usage. He wasn't blowing a ton of winds of magic on anything else. He saved it for healing up his big single entities. Noctilus was taking a ton of damage from Skirmish Cav that entire time, and he didn't let it. He didn't ever get in a position where he was out of mana and couldn't heal them, right? But his chaff all just kind of got murked. Game 2 is a lot better for trying to pick out what to talk about, because Vampire Coast can sometimes be, as we said, a little bit of a grind fest. But here's where I started to notice his single entity play was really on point, as well as the magic. And a big thing about good winds of magic uses, I know we were talking about with like a different spotlight, we were talking about being more patient with them. It's not like the type of players I'm going to be covering here, it's not like they're throwing, a banishment on the ground and it just completely misses, but there's a difference between what you get out of it. So an impatient player would probably try to Traderkin these two Forest Goblin Spider Riders that are right next to each other. They're right in your face, start of the game, maybe you just want to get some free damage out. But they're not worth it. They're not worth the Winds of Magic. Traderkin's a very expensive spell. Forest Goblin Spider Riders are kind of trash. Like, they do okay, but they're 425 apiece. You're maybe going to get 150 total value out of hitting both of them. It's just not worth your time. So you see, he keeps his caster back, doesn't really worry about it too much, lets them go. So as we're going to charge in, he's waiting for these Orc Boar Boys and Savage Orc Biggins and Goblins all to pile up. As they come in, he's going to suddenly start to cast Traderkin right there. As soon as they get in, he casts it. Very good stuff. And he's going to pull out. So that was my first example about the magic usage. Other than that, we have a Jabberscythe. Jabberscythe, it does not want to duel this giant, does not want to duel the Arachnarok Spider. Deobald's going to be very good about moving it all around the battlefield and not leaving any single entity in a bad situation for any amount of time. He's just constantly running the Jabberscythe around, staying away from those big single entities, staying away from these unbreakable Savage Orc Biggins, instead using it to go places where there are already low HP units and running around there. This Wild's Caster, I think it's a pretty cool, I don't remember exactly if it's right about now, but he also gets a pretty good Bray Scream up this little pipe here, and I think he even manages to miss most of his Centaurs. Yeah, that was a nice little angle. Get a little poke damage, don't hit your own Centaurs. Good management in a tight scenario. Jabberscythe and Taurox are going to come over, try to help duel this Goblin. So you can see the single entities always bouncing, always avoiding, and that Giant is getting left in the dust. The Jabberscythe is never forgotten near the Giant, and we get a big overcasted Traderkin on that blob that I fast-forwarded through. But you can see his magic is single entity play. Very on par. I keep saying on par, which means average. I mean to say above average. Now again, you'll notice that his infantry didn't get too much going for them, and they just got butchered. Now, that is Beastman infantry suck compared to their single entities, which might be why he's a main of them. But if you're an infantry in Deobald's army, be prepared to be chaff. But good damage values. Appreciate him in a wild especially. Got great ones. Tuskor Cherry play was also quite nice. The last replay we have is Lizardman versus Norska versus the green one. Very good player. And hey, look, more single entities. I wonder if I'm noticing a theme here. Loading into the game. Pterodons are going to move up, harass. It's pretty good play. But the Bastillodon's solar engines moved out, got damage where they needed to, and then they moved back in when they were under any threat. Sees a nice net opportunity where you can get Horsemaster, Horsemen, and these Marauders all clumped up. And he's going to banishment them, do good work over there along with his other single entities. But you'll notice what I'm talking about is this Temple Guard unit is a little forgotten. So are these Star Chamber Guardians. So the infantry could be a little more important, possibly. Salon Mage Priest, double Scar Veterans, they have Barona's Time Warp on them. I don't know, does this guy have healing? He doesn't have any healing, so the health is what they get. One Solar Engine's perfectly safe. Other Solar Engine is pushing to the outskirts, fighting only units it wants to fight. Staying away from any dangerous anti-large single entities. There's Wolfric. Sword Scar Vets, don't overcommit to chasing Wolfric around. It looks like they're going to try to stay home a little bit, stay next to the Salon, stay next to where they defend things. And they'll let Wolfric come to them. Wolfric is getting caught by this Bastillodon, but he's going to get netted. And the Bastillodon's trying to kind of get away, but it's a little caught up, but it does manage to rout that Manticore. So he switches onto the middle caster, but Sword Scar Veterans are going to move in now that the net's here, and Bastillodon will move away. Still nice magic usage. We've had good nets this game. We've had good Verona's Time Warps, keeping the Sword Scar Veterans going, and you see he did bail out that Solar Engine. So it's nice, tight play, recognizes his win conditions, and is overall good. And I did say at the start of the video that it was hard to really isolate out things to talk about with Deobald, because it's not super exciting to talk about someone just being all around good. But if that was a thing, I would give him that trait. No real super weakness to his play. So if you run into him on ladder, say hi for me. If you see him on a stream, cheer for him. That's all.